Morning, everyone. Actually, I hope this encodes and uploads quickly enough for it to still be morning. I am super tired right now. Stayed up really late working on this. I went to see the Michael Moore and Trumpland film last night, and unfortunately, I did not get in. But myself and hundreds of people were waiting there for hours and hours, and so I went around and interviewed some of the people in the line, and I really liked the way this came out. Most people who know me know that I have, in the past, traditionally worked on very complicated 3D and visual effects films like The Amazing Spider-Man and X-Men Days of Futures Past. And those films always involve huge amounts of equipment and long post-production time. So I really like the way this came out. This was just me with an iPhone, cut it together last night. So I left all the interviews in their raw form. I don't want to use sound bites to misrepresent what people say. I just want to show you what all my fellow New Yorkers, well, at least the ones who went to the movie, what they think, how they feel, where they're getting their information from. It's about 45 minutes long, but I find it really interesting. A lot of people had interesting things to say, and I'm calling this an Insta-doc, and there's nothing really to be fact-checked, but it's cool, and I hope you'll enjoy it. Any comments are welcome. Thanks.
All right, so we're here waiting in line for the Michael Moore in Trumpland film. And what did you want to ask? What do we think about Russia?
Yeah, basically, what do you think about Russia? I mean, there's so many questions about Russia being involved in some way, shape, or form with this election, and why.
Do you think they hacked the WikiLeaks emails? Is that from Russia?
Well, there's no telling, really, until there's more information on it. And will we ever get to actually see the information or hear it? I'm not sure, but it does make you think.
What do you think about Lester Holt declaring a clandestine cyber war on national television?
I don't know. I think he's a little wacky myself.
How long have you guys been waiting here?
Since about like 5 o'clock, 5:20, 15.
And you came here because you hate Donald Trump or you like Donald Trump?
Because I don't hate him. Because we do not like Donald Trump.
What do you think this film is going to be all about?
I think there's going to be some sort of like an October surprise of some sort. I mean, it's right before the debate, so it's bounced. There's something got to be in there.
Can't be good, right?
He has so much stuff next to him. I mean, at this point, I won't be even surprised, but we need another nail in the coffin, I guess.
But what do you think? Is he's in business with Russia or Cuba, or he's hacking with Russia?
I mean, but everybody already knows those things.
That he's working with
that
Russia?
He's like in bed with Russia and China, and he's molested like everybody, and at this point, I mean, all we need to know is that he has been embezzling money at this point, and I think that would be the final it factor.
And all these WikiLeaks emails, you think that came from Russian hacking?
Yeah.
Did you see this thing that NBC announced a clandestine cyber war last Friday against Russia?
From whom?
Lester Holt came on TV and said the CIA is doing a clandestine cyber war.
Oh no, I didn't see that.
So how long have you been waiting here to see the movie?
5 o'clock.
5 o'clock.
And you came because
Okay, we're prepared. We've got chairs.
That's pretty good, yeah. You came here because you hate Donald Trump or you like Donald
We
Trump?
hate Donald Trump.
We hate Donald Trump.
What do we think is going to be in the movie? Is he working with Russia?
I think it's going to be Michael Moore at the rallies.
Uh-huh.
I think, but I don't know.
We don't
Violence
know.
and racism at the rallies?
I don't know. Michael Moore has said some interesting things like, first he thought Trump was going to win, and he's saying he thinks he knows why these people are for Trump. So that's going to be interesting.
He's always surprising us.
Yeah.
Michael Moore,
It's
you
true,
know?
he was kind of pro-Trump.
Well, he wasn't pro-Trump, but he said he was going to win because of the anger. And he says, I think
Just so
I
that
know.
we don't get complacent too.
Yeah, but he said, I think I know why, and that's supposedly in this movie.
And then what do you think? All the WikiLeaks emails, that's from Russian hacking, you think?
Don't know about that. I've heard that the previous ones were definitely, but the current ones I don't know.
I do. I think they are.
Russian hacking. And you think Trump is working with Russia?
Absolutely. Like he's got Paul Manafort. He's got all these cronies of his that have ties to all, the Russian business people.
I'll put it this way, I don't think he wants to stop Russia.
Right. Yeah.
Did you see this thing last Friday where Lester Holt announced a CIA clandestine cyber war against Russia?
Yes.
What do you think of that?
Well, I think that's the future. I think it's always going to be that way. That's probably already happened more than we know.
But don't you think it's stupid to announce a
That's what
clandestine
I
war
said
on the
the same
news?
thing.
We wondered about that,
Yeah.
someone said something that sounded intelligent, which was they're testing their defenses
Right.
by announcing
I
it.
said the same thing,
So
but maybe
it's hard for me to call that one, but yeah, it seems odd.
It does,
All
yeah.
right, thanks very much.
All right.
We've been waiting since 5 p.m.
5 p.m.
Yeah.
You came to see the movie because you hate Trump? Or
Because
you
I love Michael Moore and I hate Trump.
Okay.
Yeah.
So nobody knew about this movie until like this morning, right?
So yeah, like this morning or last night, posted about it on Twitter. She told me about it actually.
Michael Moore actually tweeted last night saying that this was going to be going on today, and I just happened to be on at the same time, and I saw the tweet, and I told him, honey, we have to go see this. This is going to be really, really great. It's
What do
Michael
you
Moore.
think we're going to see? Is it about he's doing business with Russia?
Oh, not business with Russia. I think, the title is very telling, Trumpland, right? I think that he's going to try and scare us. I mean, Michael Moore, meaning he's going to show us an image of what America under Trump would look like.
Yeah.
I think he's going to sort of give us a preview based on the kinds of decisions Trump has made in the past in his own businesses. And then we're going to see what America would look like if he made it great again.
That's good. That's actually, I like that. That's probably true.
Yeah.
And so, like, what about all the WikiLeaks emails? Is that coming from Russian hacking, you think?
That's what they're saying. I don't know personally. I think that's at least what the Clinton campaign wants us to think. It's a good talking point for them to tie Trump to Putin. It very well might be true because independent investigations have reportedly said that that's the case. But I don't personally know.
You think
I'm not.
Trump is working with Putin?
I don't know if he's working directly with Putin. I think Putin wants Trump to be president because Trump will be a very easily manipulable pawn to Putin. That's my opinion on that. So.
Yeah, I agree.
What do you think about Lester Holt? Did you guys hear about this clandestine cyber war they announced on NBC News last Friday?
No,
Actually, no.
not.
Okay, that's cool. All right,
What is that?
that's a big giant piece of bullshit if you ask me, but I don't know. How do you announce a clandestine war? It's very Orwellian doublespeak nonsense. When did you guys arrive? You're first in the line here.
3:30.
3:30? You came here because you hate Donald Trump or you like Donald Trump?
No, they're different. I'm
Just want to see what he has to
just
say?
want to see what Michael Moore is saying about the secrets of Donald Trump's life.
What do you think? Is he working with Russia? He's working with Putin?
I don't think he's working with Russia or Putin. As he says, he doesn't have any relations with Russia, and he's never met Putin.
What about the WikiLeaks emails? Is that coming from Russian hacking?
I believe they probably are. I mean, I think that WikiLeaks is getting leads from Russia tapping into Hillary Clinton's email. I mean, she clearly made a mistake. I don't think that it was intended to be. I don't think she did it maliciously, though. I think she did it based on common sense.
You mean the email server at home?
Yeah, I think she's a public figure, and she's been in politics all her life. And I think when she knows she's going to make a move from one position to the other, she wants to take her personal emails and her professional emails too.
Did you see on the news last Friday, Lester Holt announced a clandestine CIA cyber war against Russia?
No, I didn't see that. On what?
NBC News?
Yesterday?
Last Friday, he announced
No, I
it
didn't
like
see
a Kim Kardashian sex tape dropping.
No, I didn't see that. I'm shocked.
Thanks.
It's gonna make Hiroshima look like a campfire. And we're gonna have a mall and a wall, and you're gonna shop everywhere. But the Mexicans can't shop there. They can work there for less than a living wage, but they can't shop there.
So you're here to see the Trump movie?
Of course.
And you hate Trump, obviously. You're with Hillary, I see.
I hate Trump. I hate what Trump stands for. Absolutely.
You think he's working with Putin and everything like that?
I think that every presidential candidate should be held to certain standards that we've established for decades on decades. And they include stuff like giving over your tax returns. I think that if he were to do the same thing that every other major candidate has been asked to do forever, with one or two exceptions throughout time, that would show whether or not he has any allegiances with Putin. I think that the way that he relies upon WikiLeaks, which has been directly tied to the Russian government, the way that his family has admitted it in the past, that they have business dealings, I have serious doubts. And what is unbelievable to me and what drives me to outrage, makes me feel like I have to come to something like this, is the fact that it's becoming just so commonplace. That people just think it's okay.
But wait, you said that did someone tie it to Putin, WikiLeaks? Where was that? I didn't see that.
Well, there have been reports, like for instance, that there was someone in the Russian government who was the first to announce one of these WikiLeaks things that came out last week, and then Trump quoted it at the rally before it was officially released. Once again, I feel like the problem with all of this is once you start giving voice to all these WikiLeaks, what you're doing is you're giving voice to what is intentional hacking of a foreign government, which is what we should be talking about. They're criminals. They're absolutely breaking the law. And that's what this discussion should be about, is whether or not we're going to allow foreign governments to have a hand in our democracy, which I think is outrageous, and I think it's something we should be talking about, as opposed to allowing him to control the conversation and so blatantly try to benefit off it when he knows the spiral he's gone down the past week or two as a voter who was never going to support him from the start. I'll admit that full-heartedly. I at least thought that, well, when the election season comes, decency is going to just have to come, right? He's going to have to start pandering. He's going to have to. But to see just the childish, despicable spiral that he's gone off in the past few weeks, and the way he's taken it out on American citizens, that's who he's taking this out on, is individuals, calling out the women who've accused him, calling out the same thing he's done throughout the entire campaign, which is bullying regular, average people. That is what he's been doing the past few weeks, and that's what I feel like he would be as a president.
Okay, so this movie you think is going to show what? Proof of like sexual assault, working with the Russians?
No, I don't think it's anything like that. I heard that it's called Michael Moore Goes to Trumpland. He hasn't said anything about it. I don't know what it's going to be about. What I'm excited about is that I have heard over the past few months that Michael Moore has been saying that he doesn't think that he actually thinks that Trump's going to win the election. Wow. And when I've been hearing that, at first it's been disheartening, because I felt like, wow, why would you say that you think he's going to lose if you really are this liberal beacon that I think you to be? But what I've thought it has been motivational. And I think what he's saying is that we can't be complacent and we need to stay active. And today when I heard that he was releasing this movie, I had to come. I felt like my soul was lifted. I felt like, oh my God, he is in here, and I don't know what he's going to say. Who knows what he's going to say? I don't think he's going to be revealing any proof, anything like that. But I think what he's going to be showing is what he's done in all of his movies, is the reality on the ground. How is it really playing out?
When did you get here to see the movie? What time?
I got here about an hour ago. So we'll see. People have been winding around the block. They told people the tickets were sold out and no one's left. So.
Yep. All right, man. Thanks.
All right. Appreciate it, brother.
Yep. How long you been waiting here to see Michael Moore in Trumpland?
A little over 2 hours.
That's it. 2 hours. Huh. And what do you expect to see in this movie?
Well, I'm most interested to see how a movie could be finished and shown today with all that has happened in the last week, how he's, as a filmmaker, has been able to figure out how to put this into the film that I'm sure was locked a week ago.
Although they did show on Twitter he was editing it last night.
Well, that's probably what he was doing.
So like all the WikiLeaks stuff, is that what you mean, or what? What of the accusers?
No, the sexual harassment issues. The WikiLeaks stuff is a separate issue.
Do you think that WikiLeaks is coming from Russia?
No, I don't. We don't know where it's coming from, and I really resent that we're told that it's coming from Russia with no documentation. There's many places it could have come from.
Did you see on NBC News last Friday, Lester Holt announcing a clandestine cyber war against Russia?
This is not new. I mean, this has been going on for 10 years. There was a documentary about 6 weeks ago by Alex Goodman, which talked about taking down of the Iranian atomic research project. A couple of scientists were killed, and they planted a worm and it took down all of the government computers in Iran. And the whole documentary is about who did it. No one took credit for it. It turned out to be a joint project of Israel and the United States. Normally, people take credit when they do something. So this cyber war is not a new thing. We have been doing it for over 10 years, and just because now we're being attacked, it suddenly becomes a hot issue. I think it should be balanced on both sides. To tell the truth, we're doing cyber war, the Soviets are doing cyber war, And whoever else, I happen to like Anonymous. think that Anonymous has done more to inform the public than any government agency or spokesperson.
But I mean, don't you find it weird to announce on television a clandestine war?
Of course I do, but this is spin. This is anything to distract from the contents of what was revealed in the emails. I mean, there's been very little discussion of the contents in the emails, and I'm voting for Hillary Clinton. I just want to be very clear about that. But the content is what's important, and that's what I want to know about. All I've heard about who did it, clandestine, cyber war, whatever. Let's talk about the content. That's the service that was provided.
Okay. But you think Trump is working with Russia on businesses and stuff like that?
Well, I don't think that Trump and Putin are in bed together. No, I think that Trump is a businessman, an ethical, immoral business person. He'll do business with anyone he can think he can make a buck on.
How long have you been waiting here to see Michael Moore in Trumpland?
All night.
What do you mean? When did you get here?
I don't even remember. It's been a while.
Really? Hours ago?
Yep.
This guy said 2 hours. I guess somebody was waiting for him, huh?
Yep. Well, those guys up front probably this morning.
Wow.
Yeah.
And what do you think is going to be in this movie?
Well, who knows? I mean, that Billy Bush bus
Pussygate
surprise, yeah. But maybe there's something new. I mean, there always are new surprises and revelations, and
you think it's going to be sexual assault stuff, Russia business stuff?
I think there might be some Russia stuff. I think business ties, getting down into the underbelly of the business arrangements, and maybe even the tax returns. That
Did
could
you
be
see
there
that
too.
Newsweek story that exposed the Trump organization, all the corrupt ties of the Trump organization?
Didn't.
You didn't see that?
I don't read Newsweek anymore.
What about
It's
the hacking, all the WikiLeaks emails? You think
Yeah,
that's
I've been
Russian?
following that. That's interesting.
You think that's coming from Russia?
Well, Julian Assange is releasing them, right?
But he doesn't hack them. He just gets them, right?
I don't know. I couldn't possibly say. No one can say.
Did you see NBC News last Friday where Lester Holt announced a clandestine cyber war?
No. Well, that was the debates, right?
I don't know.
Yeah. NBC News, I don't know.
Anything else you want to say about the movie or Trump?
Well, I'm really hopeful that Trump loses, of course. But it's a real shame that Jill Stein and Gary Johnson were not given a place on that podium, on that stage.
Did you hear the story about the fake medical report from Trump's fake doctor?
Yeah, that story was amazing.
So what do you think of that?
It's outrageous. It's absurd.
But you heard the story. It's absurd. Why?
Well, Trump pulled up with his limo downstairs, and the guy had 5 minutes to type up some kind of health history for him, completely made up with superlatives. I mean, it was like everything about Trump. It was some sort of fabrication.
I didn't see that. Where did they show that he drove up to the thing and typed it up? I'd love to see that. See, that's what I'm talking about. Like,
I read that somewhere. Yeah, I read it. You know what? I read the Huffington Post and the New York Times. So if I read it as a news story, I read it either in the Huffington Post or the New York Times. Pretty much. That's it.
Did you see, we spoke about Lester Holt, right? Did you see Lester Holt announce the CIA clandestine war against Russia last Friday? He went on TV and he announced a clandestine cyber war.
On the nightly news? Wow. Well, that's been going on for a decade or more. I mean, that's been going on since the foundation of the internet.
But do you think
and there was an internet before the internet.
Do you think it's
designed by the
strange
internet.
to announce a clandestine war?
Yeah. Well, we know how the military trumped up the Iraq War. That war was going to happen one way or another, and the global community was against it. It was the largest protest in human history. I marched in D.C. and Washington against it. It was outrageous. I remember Nelson Mandela, pounding on the podium at the UN, saying that this would just inject chaos into the Middle East.
He was right.
Yeah.
But you're here because you hate Trump or you like Trump?
Hate Trump.
How long have you been here? When did you arrive?
An hour and a half ago.
Mm-hmm. And what do you expect to see in this movie? Proof of business in Russia, hacking, what? Sexual assault?
Hopefully all of the above. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Mm-hmm. Did you guys see NBC Nightly News last Friday where Lester Holt announced the clandestine war, cyber war against Russia?
No. Yes, I saw it. I know.
What'd you think of that?
I don't know.
Do you think that Russia, like all this WikiLeaks, you think that's coming from Russia and Putin is helping Trump with that?
Could be. I wouldn't put it past him. Absolutely.
Okay. All right. Anything else you guys want to say about Trump, Hillary, Putin, anything?
It's just been a really sad election. Although a lot of great points have come out of this election, it's brought out a lot of like bad feelings in people, and I've never seen anything like it.
What's the best point that came out, you think?
I think that the sexual harassment against women, that issue, is not the first time that it's happened, obviously, so I think that's a good issue.
What's the number up to? How many women have accused him?
I believe it's 9.
It's crazy.
Yeah, it's a lot of women.
So, I mean, they wouldn't be accusing him, you think, if it wasn't for real, right?
No, there's definitely something behind it. And it's funny how Billy Bush got fired from NBC, and yet this man can continue to go on to try and be president of the United States.
You think that was unfair that they fired Billy Bush?
Absolutely. I think he deserved to be fired, but he also deserved to lose his candidacy.
You know that Billy Bush is Jeb's first cousin and George W.'s first cousin, right?
Yes.
What do you think about George W. and Jeb and all that?
I really can't say that I've given them much thought.
Did you guys know in July the Senate Intelligence Committee declassified a 28-page report about the 9/11 attacks?
No, I didn't see that.
Do you know that it revealed that Saudi Arabia planned and financed the attacks?
Doesn't surprise me.
Were you living in New York in 2001?
Yes, we were.
And I'm sure, like me, you had friends and family in the building?
Not in the building, but people that work in the city and the surrounding areas. Yeah.
So are you shocked to hear that in 2002 the government knew that Saudi Arabia was involved, but yet we attacked Iraq?
I'm not surprised. I'm not. Sad to say I'm not.
All right, anything else you guys want to say? You're voting for Hillary, obviously, right?
Yes, we are.
Okay. What about the WikiLeaks and all the stuff it reveals? That's nonsense? It's lies?
You know what? I think that's far less of an issue than what's happening with Trump. And if we have to vote for one or the other, I definitely would go with Hillary over Trump, that's for sure.
Lesser of two evils, huh?
That's right.
All right. Thank you, ladies.
You're welcome.
What time did you arrive here to see the movie?
Probably about, I think 7 or so.
When you came, you hate Trump or you like Trump?
I don't care for him, no. I hate him.
So what do you think? What do you think this movie's going to reveal?
No, I think it's mostly just going to be shitting on him. Probably just a lot about his business history and how it's not as good as he says it is, but...
Business dealings with Russia?
Well, maybe. But mostly just how a lot of his businesses, like how he received a bunch of money from his father and he didn't use it well. Just that kind of thing. I mean, imagine more than that. But.
And what about all the hacking? Is that Russian hacking? Is Trump being helped by Russian hacking for the election?
No, I don't think that's... I don't really like that narrative. Yeah. I think that's just kind of defensive of Clinton.
And did you see on NBC News last Friday, Lester Holt announced a clandestine CIA cyber war against Russia?
I didn't see that he said that, but I did hear about that, yeah.
What do you think about that, announcing a clandestine war on the news?
Well, it's not clandestine then, if that's...
Strange, right?
Yeah.
Because all I'm going to ask you is...
You mean like a yes or no question?
No. What time did you get here to see the movie?
6, maybe? No, 6:15, I guess.
And you came here because you don't like Trump, correct?
Right.
And what do you expect to see in the film?
I have no idea. Michael Moore, probably.
But I mean, like proof of hacking, proof of sexual assault, business in Russia.
Sure, all of the above.
All that.
Yeah.
Do you think WikiLeaks is being provided by Russia?
I don't know. Well, why are you asking me this stuff?
It's an interview, man.
I'm not a source.
Do you believe WikiLeaks?
What do you mean?
I mean,
what do I believe?
Like the information coming out of WikiLeaks, is it fake or is it real?
Real, I guess. I don't know.
No opinion, kind of.
What?
No opinion?
Real. I don't know. Real.
So when did you get here to see Michael Moore in Trumpland?
I think it was around 7 o'clock.
Uh-huh. And you're here, obviously you hate Trump, right?
I don't hate him. I don't know him.
Do you want to vote for him or not vote for him?
I'm not voting for him.
Right, so you don't support him?
No.
And what do you think the movie's going to show? Like proof of?
Honestly, I just read the article that he announced that it was going to be a free showing here in the IFC Center, and I said, I'm gonna check it out.
Do you expect to see proof that Trump is doing business in Russia?
Well, it is a documentary, so I mean, he may show certain things. I know I was reading that they tried to, they prevented a showing in Ohio, because I know that's a critical state.
Who did? Trump did?
Republicans.
Prevented showing this movie in Ohio?
In a theater in Ohio, yeah.
Didn't they just announce it secretly last night?
Or no, they tried to shut it down. I don't know, maybe it was being filmed in Ohio?
Oh, that might be right. Well, and so what do you think, though? WikiLeaks is working for Trump, or what?
I know there was I know people that worked with Julian Assange. Like there was people called it like a coup of some kind, or like people weren't like that were working with him kind of went against him in some sense. I don't know how true that is, but I know that he is showing bias by also revealing like detrimental information, like for example social security numbers and stuff like that, you know.
Julian Assange is showing bias?
Yeah, like of certain people, not necessarily like pertaining to Hillary, but like just what he's releasing. He's like dumping stuff into the internet.
And do you think Russia is giving that stuff to him?
I honestly don't know. I don't have a clearance anymore, so.
You used to work in the security
I used to be in the military.
Really? What was your role in the military?
I used to work overseas.
And so what do you think about the way the whole thing went down with the classified information on the server and all that?
The only reason why they're making it a big deal is because, because they think they never really liked her because she's a woman and she's been in that political boys club for so long. And two, they want to make an example out of her because, you know, because they don't want her to get away with, like, you know, proving that she's more informed or better than her, so they're going to nitpick on every little thing. Because there's so many people in high office that have done the exact same thing. And the only reason why she wasn't prosecuted is because all these people have done these things and they would have to drag them in, and there are people who are currently still doing these things.
What kind of clearance did you have when you were in the military?
I don't want to talk about it.
Okay. So if you had... Sorry, hang on. Don't talk to me about your clearance, but when you had a security clearance in the military, if you went and stored classified information on your iPhone or your personal server, what would have happened?
Well, you're not allowed, because you're not allowed to, depending on where you're at, what facility, you're not allowed to bring stuff into the facility. Phones or everything have to be left outside.
So certainly if you had a server somehow rigged up at your house to transfer, store, save, send information, you'd be what? Court-martialed, thrown in jail?
Well, there's also, you would be held, you have to, how do I say this? Because there is some things called as non-judicial punishment in the military, where they look at
toilets and stuff.
They look at your record and they see like how how responsible you've been in your whole term, and they judge whether or not this merits a like legal action, a court-martial. And depending on your record, they may proceed with court-martial, because if you don't have a good record, then that's it. If you do, then they may suggest, all right, non-judicial punishment, whatever that may be.
So if you had a bad record, like if you had like 4 federal investigations prior, would that be considered, is that bad?
Well, I mean, their investigation depends on the outcome.
The outcome of the investigation, right? It doesn't matter. They wouldn't consider that there's 4 investigations versus 0 investigations. You don't think the military?
And there's also, like, you would see the difference between how higher ups are treated versus enlisted.
That's different?
Oh yeah, it's totally different. I mean, I remember when people were getting the anthrax shot, you could not refuse. If you refused, then you were sent to prison, like any enlisted. But officials, like officers, they would probably be, I know a few were administratively separated, which is good, instead of getting a bad conduct discharge. Or like, there are examples of these throughout the military, depending on the branch. But you're dealing with people in positions of power, and they use their judgment, essentially.
So that anthrax shot, you were in Iraq or something like that?
Well,
can't say.
No.
Can you say if it was in the United States or outside the United States?
It was outside the United States.
And how long have you lived in New York? Were you here when September 11th happened?
No, I wasn't actually.
Where were you living September 11th, 2001?
Connecticut.
How old were you September 11th, 2001?
I don't want to talk about that.
You were a child?
No, I wasn't.
Okay. Are you aware of the 28 pages from the Senate Intelligence Committee that was released in July?
Well, I do have the notes about the quid pro quo, which I'm reading over in my phone right now.
Quid pro quo?
Supposedly in the newspaper, a federal agent filled out a 302 form, which is just a secondary agent that's taking notes about what was going on with Hillary Clinton and her emails and stuff like that. So
No, but separate from that, the 28 pages from the Senate Intelligence Committee about the 9/11 that Prince Bandar and his wife were funneling money to the hijackers. Did you hear about that?
Yeah, I mean that was a while ago. So
well, it just came out in July.
Yeah.
The report was from 2002.
So I mean, I haven't really looked into that.
What do you think about the fact that the government knew in December of 2002 that Saudi Arabia planned, financed, and executed 9/11 when we attacked Iraq?
Well, I mean, again, you have to look at the administration and see what they're. I mean, because the people have this idea about transparency, but you can't have transparency when there's stuff going on. You just can't, because if certain things are happening, you can't expect that all the people in high office to be completely transparent because of security reasons.
The enemy would know, right?
Exactly. So I mean, regardless, you're not going to be able to get the full story of anything because there's always stuff that's going to be withheld. There's always stuff that's need to know. I mean, like I wasn't privy to a lot of stuff, even though I had the clearance.
Well, listen, enjoy the movie. Thanks. So you're here to watch. You're in the huge line to see Trump. I mean, to see Michael Moore in Trumpland, right?
Yes.
Yep.
And you guys are here because you hate Trump or you like Trump?
I hate Trump. He's undecided.
He says a lot of bonehead things.
What do you expect to see in this movie? Proof of business in Russia, hacking with Russia, sexual assault?
A lot more dumb shit that he's done.
Well, no, I mean, I think when Michael Moore approaches films, he does it from like uncovering a greater
good.
Not greater good.
Conspiracy?
Conspiracy. He goes way back and explains like timelines of how things diverge together to like, this is how we ended up here. So I don't think that it's going to be a bashing Trump film. I just think that it's, in true Michael Moore fashion, he's just going to present the facts and then let the conspiracy theories start.
The facts, exactly. See, that's what I'm
That's what he's
interested
going
in.
for.
That's what Crowdsource the Truth is all about, is examining what's a fact and what is fiction.
Right, exactly.
How long you guys been waiting here? When did you arrive to see the movie?
So we've only been here 2 hours. Yeah.
But I mean, the line is definitely huge.
It's huge. Have you seen how far it goes around the corner?
Yeah, it goes around the corner.
And then it goes half a
they
block down.
dismiss. There's a sign dismissing. Like,
I know, and
people are still
People are
waiting.
still there.
Yeah, it's interesting, right?
Very interesting. Everyone
right.
wants to know what happens here.
That's right. All right.
Yeah.
Well, listen. Thanks, guys. Enjoy the movie.
Yeah.
When did you arrive here to see Michael Moore in Trumpland?
About 6:30.
And you hate Trump or you like Trump?
I wouldn't use the word hate, but I mean, he's racist, I'm brown, he's sexist, he's a creep. Like, what's to like about him?
Sexual assault? You think he's guilty of sexual assault?
I mean, how could one not?
Right. And what do you think is the movie going to reveal? He's in business with Russia and WikiLeaks and all that?
That's what I assume, yeah. I would
WikiLeaks
guess so.
is coming from Russia?
That's what I assume. Everything that I've read is kind of like that.
Did you see this thing in Newsweek exposing the Trump organization for all the businesses in Russia and everything like that?
I did, yeah.
What did you think of that?
I mean, it sounded like if I were an evil master plan, that's what I would do.
And, all right, so you're a Hillary voter or Jill Stein?
I mean, I guess at this point, I would say that, the entire system is what it is, but I'm voting against Trump for sure.
Did you see NBC News on Friday where Lester Holt announced a clandestine cyber war against Russia?
No, I did not.
What do you think about that, announcing a clandestine war on the news?
I mean, that's just like the obvious amount of next wave terrorism and manipulation.
No conflict though in your mind with that?
I mean, there's tons of conflict in saying that. I mean, like, at what point are you designated as a terrorist, right? Like, what is that? Is terrorism? Like, why do these words redefine themselves based on who's saying it?
The hacking, you mean, or announcing the war?
Announcing it. It's like,
So Lester Holt is being a terrorist in that situation.
Sure, absolutely. Like the responsibility for it. He's claiming some like level of responsibility for that. Yeah, absolutely.
How long you guys been waiting here? We're kind of closer to the back of the line.
About an hour and a half or something like that. Yeah.
And you came tonight because you dislike Donald Trump or you like Donald Trump?
I dislike Donald Trump, but voting for Hillary is like.
What do you expect to see in the movie?
A lot of Trump bashing.
But I mean, like proof of
I don't
business in
think
Russia?
anything. Well, nothing. I don't think it's going to be anything new that we haven't heard about.
We already know he's doing
we
business.
know. I don't know about that, but we know about his connections to Russia through, Paul Manafort and whatnot. But I don't know anything new is going to come out of this movie. But I think it's, things that we already knew.
But do you think like WikiLeaks hacks are coming from Russian hacking to help Trump?
Our security analysts say so. So it's coming from Russia. They're not sure if it's the Russian government, but I'm sure that it's coming from Russia because
Did you see the NBC News last Friday where Lester Holt announced a clandestine cyber war against Russia?
I didn't see that, but I heard about that.
What do you think about that?
I don't really have. Until I read the news story, I don't think I have any opinion on that. I don't really know how to feel.
Do you see any kind of contradiction in announcing a clandestine war on the news?
Contradictions in what? What do you mean?
I mean, doesn't it seem stupid?
True. Somebody leaked it. I mean, I don't know. I don't know the full story, but I guess it's dumb. If you're not. You're right about that. It's not so secret anymore.
Right. So you said you're a Hillary voter or Jill Stein?
No, Hillary. Yeah, from the beginning, actually.
And what about so the WikiLeaks? You don't believe it because it's coming from Russia and it doesn't matter.
Well, I mean, I believe it. But if you read the emails, there's nothing there. This is nothing that's going to turn off, I think, rational voters. If you're a Trump supporter, you're going to see things, obviously, in these emails that are going to outrage you. There were claims about quid pro quo recently with the FBI and the State Department that doesn't lead anywhere because there wasn't any quid pro quo.
Well, what about the whole hearing with James Comey and the email server? Her not getting indicted for mishandling classified information.
Well, what about those? What do you mean?
I mean, do you think she should have been indicted for mishandling top secret information?
This is after the Republicans. It's a witch hunt against Hillary Clinton. They've gone after her for about 3 years now, trying to find something. They never find anything after all these House committee investigations.
It's just
the
a
FBI.
personal email address, right?
Look at this. Look at it this way. The Republicans have been investigating this for 3 years now, and they haven't been found it. So it's just they're digging and digging and digging to try to find anything, but they're coming up empty-handed. It's like Bill Maher put it this weekend. It's like Hillary's like a black, driver in a white neighborhood. The cops keep pulling her over. That's a GOP, but they keep having to let her go because they can't find anything. It's like. I feel like that's what they're doing with it.
What time
everyone else is here.
What time did you arrive to see the movie?
At 6:45.
So not that long ago.
Not that long ago.
But we are waiting, and they told us we're not going to get in, but we're still waiting.
We're still waiting.
And I assume you're here because you are not a Trump voter.
Correct. Well, I'm not voting in this election.
You're from
anymore.
Australia.
No.
Where are you from?
New Zealand.
Sorry, you can punch me. Are you a U.S. citizen? Are you able to vote?
No, I'm not able to vote.
So I'm interested to get your perspective as someone from a foreign country. What do you think about this whole election?
It's a bit of a circus, I would say.
Sorry?
It's a bit of a circus.
Circus. Who would you vote for if you could vote?
Probably for Hillary. Yeah.
And what do you think?
Just because I wouldn't vote for Trump.
You wouldn't vote for Trump. What do you think we're going to see in this movie? Proof of sexual assault, business in Russia?
I have no idea.
And the hacking. You think the hacking is helping Trump, with Russia helping Trump?
No, I don't think it's helping him, no, but hopefully that's a good thing.
Yeah?
Yeah.
All right. You guys, this line is huge.
And a lot of people left.
A lot of people have left? Hey, would you guys be willing to give me an interview for a website? When did you get here to see the movie?
About 7.
Yeah, we're all in the same boat. We're at the end of the line. And so far, everybody I've spoken to that's come to see this movie is anti-Trump. I presume you're anti-Trump.
I'm kind of pro Michael Moore.
Michael Moore, there we go. Okay, I like Michael Moore
Back
too.
in the day, 1999.
Oh, did you work with him?
Well, in a way, I was a media buyer, and this is the upfront for his show, The Awful Truth.
Oh yeah. So what do you think we're going to see in this movie?
Entertainment.
But what about like proof of business in Russia and hacking and sexual assault?
Yeah, the way I was just saying to somebody else, having lived here most of my life, I'm more than well acquainted with Trump, his mouth, his behavior, his shitty buildings, and I don't expect any surprises short of them having footage of him eating live babies. I'm just expecting a good skewering for entertainment purposes.
So you lived in New York in 2001 when September 11th happened. And like me, I presume you had
Well, actually,
friends.
I lived in Fort Lee, New Jersey. I just moved. So.
Close enough, it counts. You had friends or anyone in the building? Okay.
But I did volunteer at Javits Center as of like the 16th was the soonest I could get down.
And have you seen this 28 pages from the Senate Intelligence Committee that was released in July that talk about Saudi Arabia's involvement in 9/11?
No, but we knew all the hijackers were from Saudi Arabia, so...
Well, but this document revealed that members of the Saudi royal family assisted them financially in planning.
Well, and also they were on a plane out of town because they were cozy with the Bush
What do you
family.
think about that?
Exactly.
What do you think
Business as usual, you know.
All right.
That's the way things go.
Anything else you want to say? You're a Hillary voter? Jill Stein?
Yeah, you know, I'm not a Trump voter, so.
Of course. All right.
I'm a Bernie girl, but what am I going to do?
Yeah. So, I mean, what do you think about what the DNC did with Bernie? Is WikiLeaks all lies or what?
Yeah, I think it's, once again, business as usual. It's just the way things are.
All right, so we're around the corner here. The movie theater is down there with the marquee, and this line is huge. There's no way any of these people are getting in, but they're still waiting. So far, no one I've spoken to is here because they like Donald Trump, so I'm going to go out on a limb. And...
True.
Okay. So what do you expect to see in the movie?
A lot of Trump. A lot of the things that we've been hearing about already, just probably artfully shown.
Like business with Russia, hacking with Russia?
All of that.
Sexual assault?
Yeah, I mean, I'm not here to be convinced. I'm here to just be entertained.
You're already convinced of that stuff.
Yes.
You
It'll
think,
be a nice break.
You think WikiLeaks is helping Trump and it's coming from Russia?
Yes, and yes. Absolutely.
Did you see Lester Holt announce the clandestine CIA cyber war against Russia on Friday?
Actually, I have not. And I've been staying on top of that. That happened Friday.
Yeah. What do you think about announcing a clandestine war on the news?
Honestly, I think it's escalating way too much.
Don't you think it's a little bit of a conflict to announce a clandestine war?
Well, I think announcing things like that, yes, I get that, but I'm not focusing on that stuff.
Okay. Just
I'm
like
more-
the whole conversation with Billy Bush and
Well, that was
sexual-
last week. I'm really just focusing on the poll numbers now.
poll numbers.
Yeah, because I'm getting uneasy with the whole emails and
What do you mean, like Hillary's emails coming out in WikiLeaks?
yeah, piece by piece.
So you trust WikiLeaks or you don't trust WikiLeaks? You think it's fake or it's hacked from
I don't
Russia?
think it's necessarily fake.
So authentic.
Because I believe that if it was fake, we would have seen Clinton already to speak out on it against it. The State Department is actually doing a lot of back talking now with what came out a day ago with the whole quid pro quo.
That bothers you, right?
I mean, I'm really not actually trying to focus on that coverage, even though I know it's there, because I don't want to get fearful about Trump actually becoming president. So
Right.
hearing that stuff makes me fearful.
Well, what do you think, though, about the FBI director saying she did all this bad stuff, but then they didn't prosecute her? That was the quid pro quo, or that's a new thing that
But
they
I need
didn't
more.
even talk about
What
yet.
I need more details.
Well, did you watch the hearings on C-SPAN with, Trey Gowdy?
I only
and...
actually watched the clips that they played later on the news, and they mostly focus on how much endurance she had dealing with the hearing. They didn't really focus on the content.
They didn't focus on the questions that Trey Gowdy and Jason Chaffetz
Honestly,
were asking.
Who watches C-SPAN most? Most Americans watch C-SPAN when they're going to sleep. I mean,
Did you see the article in Newsweek about the corruption of the Trump organization?
Not news. I don't remember seeing a Newsweek
Or
article.
Rachel Maddow talked about it. Did you watch Rachel Maddow?
I saw one of her shows.
What was she saying on there?
This was when actually
essentially that Friday, which I believe is 2 Fridays ago when the whole Billy Bush tape came out, I tried to hit every show even after that, and that's the only show of hers I watched, which basically rehashed everything that the other shows did.
Let's see, what's this guy saying? What's up, dude?
America was never great. When Trump and company talk about make America great again, when exactly was America great? When they stole the land from the native peoples?
So
slavery?
who do
Hiroshima,
you
Nagasaki?
want? Who do you want for president?
The fact that someone like this is a legitimate candidate shows that the whole damn system is illegitimate and we need a revolution.
So who do you want for president?
We want a revolution. Both choices are bad.
Do you have any
Both
idea how
choices.
quickly all of us will get killed? If there's
What?
kind of revolution are you talking about?
You should get this, and you go on the website. This is a longer conversation than we can have here in this line.
Okay. All
Okay?
right. Thanks,
so
man.
important questions you're raising.
All right,
but I
listen,
can't
enjoy
get
the
into
movie,
right
okay?
Hiroshima look like a campfire.
What's that? Oh my God. That is so cool.
Microphone share, we're going to build a section in front of it. And it's going to be one of the most beautiful ones. It's going to be such a big wall. It's going to be and you're going to shop everything.
We just got to get
in. Sorry. But they can't shop there.
We just got to get in. Cool. Okay.
Back off the boat. In the future, the situation in Syria is very complicated. We've got ISIS, we've got Assad, there's all the freeloading Syrian refugees I sent back. It's a total mess. But we've got to get rid of ISIS, so I just carpet bombed the hell out of the whole country. And just to be safe, I bombed Iraq and Iran too. Problem solved. And believe me, if they went on the Middle East.
Come on, let's get some room, everybody. All right, we gotta go in. Sorry.
Loved Fahrenheit 9/11. Ah, thank you. Thank you.
There's a few extra misfortunes.
You reveal Russian hacking.